Hello and welcome, fellow Wasteland survivors. My name is Dean. Thanks for stopping in because today's video is brought to us by the letter A and my good friend Choppy. Here at Mount Chopmore, he has built the Klingon warship, a bird of prey. A few weeks ago, he asked me if I had any ideas on how to build a gun for his ship. So using the tips that we'll see in today's video, we sat down and together we built this. Now we'll see how this was done later on in the video, but before that I'll show how these tips work and then I'll show you how to exploit them. And then you can do things like put a candle inside this pumpkin's head. Or you can put things on a shelf quick and easy like this. All of this was done by using letters. A few months ago, I created a video showing how to turn the Fashnot flag post into lamp posts, and I did it by using power armor. Now, in case you're interested, there is a link for that video flashing on the screen here now. But in that video, I showed how you could place objects on or even connect them to power armor. And by doing so, once you went ahead and stored your power armor, then that said object would be floating in the air. Now, the same principles are going to apply to today's tip. In the wall decor, we're going to choose one of these letters and we're going to apply it to our power armor. You can place these letters on quite a few different places on the power armor, but for today's tip, I'm going to place them on the heel of the foot as close to the ground or floor as I can get it. Then I'll go ahead and collect the power armor. Now I've got letters floating in the air. Next, I'll jump into stash boxes and I'll pick out a container. I like this one here. Now this container is actually gotten from Nuclear Winter, and you may not have this particular one, but any of the containers this will work. And as you can see, I can move around quite a bit and it'll sit on top of this letter. Now, one thing to keep in mind, if you can't get your item to set on top of the letter, then you're too far off the ground or the floor, and you may need to put your letter a little closer. Also, another thing to keep in mind is how you place your object on the letter. We have it kind of on the front of this container, so that means almost all of the container is behind the letter or the part that would attach to the wall. Even though the letter is what's being attached to the post right now, the container is trying to go through the post, and because of that, it's not going to allow us to put it down. Therefore, what we're going to have to do is readjust our container so that way we have it on the right side or the correct side of the letter, so that way when we place it on the post, very little, if any at all, of the container will be going into the post. Even though there's quite a few things that you can do by using this tip, depending upon what you're doing, you probably are going to experience some collision issues. So there's a couple of ways to get around this. One, readjust your object on the letter again and try it a couple of different ways to see if it will fit on there or go where you would like it to be. Just like right here, we moved it a little bit and now our container is sitting on the post, and it could be like a little mailbox or something. Now there is another way that you can get these objects to work better for you, and I'll explain how to do it by putting a candle in this pumpkin's head. There are a lot of items in your build menu that will actually set on top or connect to a letter. And believe it or not, this scarecrow is one of them. I can actually set it on top of the letter. And it's pretty generous how it sets up here. I can actually get it very far away from the letter and it's still setting on top of it. Now, when I attach that to a wall or something, there'll be a pretty generous gap between the object I'm putting the letter on to the post of the scarecrow. Now, for this demonstration, I have it quite far away, so that way when I break the post, it won't break the scarecrow as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my power armor down here beside the post, because I need to see or get an approximate height of how far to put this scarecrow. The reason is I'm going to use the power armor to set the candle on when we go to put it inside of the pumpkin head. Now I'll go ahead and go back into work mode, grab the letter, bring it over to the post, and I'll just kind of align it up here the best I can. Now, since this is just a test, I'm really not going to spend much time trying to get this exactly spot on, but that should be close enough. Now, like I said, we can actually take the candle and set it on top of the power armor. And when we place it down and store our power armor, the candle will just be floating in the air. Now, I've tried to get this candle inside that pumpkin's head for a couple of years now with no success. But doing it the way that I'm getting ready to show you, it works excellent. And the reason is because it makes the objects disappear. And the game doesn't even register that they're even there. So now it's easy to put objects inside of other objects. Now when we use the flame trap to break the wooden post, as you can see, everything is gone. Now we're not in work mode, but when we do go into work mode, we can see where the post is at. But if you notice, there is no letter and there is no scarecrow. So according to the game, there is nothing there at all. Now I can move my power armor in to about where I think it needs to be. Once again, I'm not being exact here, so I'm just guessing. And then we'll go back into work mode. I'll grab the candle. We'll place it on top of the power armor, like I described earlier. And now we can go ahead and collect our power armor. And the candle is floating in the air. Now I'll repair the wooden post, and when I do, everything comes back. Now this was a great way to place an object inside of another object without any collision issues whatsoever. You know, I'm sitting here laughing to myself because I didn't even try to line any of this up, and that actually looks pretty dang good. Alright, for our next tip, let's show how to put some things on shelves. Now, once again, like I said, a lot of objects will set on top of this letter, but it may fool you that it won't. For example, this rug. As you can see, it's not setting up on top of the letter. But if I lift it up a little bit, and there's a couple of ways to do that. One, by pressing and holding A and then using the right or left bumper to raise the object up, it will actually set on top of it. Another is to get back from a distance and set it up on top. Here I just went ahead and lifted it, and once I did, I can place it pretty much anywhere I want to on the letter. Once again, here's something that won't go up on there, but if I get far away, I can actually lift it up on there, and then I can get a little closer and align it up to where I want. So keep that in mind. There are two ways to lift an object up to set it on the letter, and apparently even on this carpet once it's on the letter. Now I can bring it over to a wall where I'm going to place it into a shelf. As you can see, I already have some other carpets on letters with objects on them already here. The shelf that's beside everything is there as a marker. I want to use that so I know how high up and down to move our letters or our carpets with the objects on it, and also side to side. This is a great way to line everything up because we're not going to be able to see those objects once we break the wall. Now I'll bring over the flame trap, fire it up, break the wall, And once we do, all of those objects on the letter and on the carpets will now be gone. They'll disappear, they will. But what's nice about the container or the shelf that's right here is I can now use it as a marker, bring it over and line it up, and I know that it'll match right up to those carpets as soon as I repair the wall. And presto, just like that, everything comes back, and we've got a pretty sweet looking shelf. Now, once again, I didn't spend much time to line all this up or, what to put in the shelving, because there's really a lot of objects that you can do this with. And because of the no collision issues, wow, you're going to get creative. I know you will. Now, keep this in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Depending upon where you put your power armor, where you put the letter on your power armor, there's a lot of things that you can do with it. You can actually get things to attach to it as well. One of the easiest things to connect to a letter are these lights, and cycling lights included. But it doesn't mean they're the only ones. You can actually get other lights to click on them too, if you have the patience to sit there and just keep fidgeting with it until it turns green. So play around with this tip. It will blow you away some of the things that you can do with it. Okay, we're at Choppy's base now, and we're getting ready to build his guns. So the first thing I did was place some lettering down using my power armor. Now in this clip I'm using the excavation power armor with a skin on it from the Atom shop. I'm just doing it so that way you can see it doesn't matter what power armor that you use or if it has skins or not. The only thing that I really noticed about it is sometimes the skins kind of cover the letters and it makes it hard to see if it has turned green or if it's still red. Alright, now that I have letters down, I am at Choppy's camp. Since these are nuclear winter items, he has to build them and place them on the letters himself. I can't actually do that. But I can still move the letter around even though the container is on it. So he'll have to hang out while we make sure they're straight, and he'll have to adjust them if they're not. Just like this one right here, we can see, yeah, that's not very straight on there, so let's send it back and we'll get him to line it up a little better. Now, as you can see, he's struggling with putting the blue container on a letter. And the reason is because it's a little bit too high in the air, and if the floor or the ground is not high enough or close enough to the letter, this trick will not work. It's an old Fallout 4 trick where you could place items or objects on other things if the floor was a certain distance away, and it works the same way in 76. So now that this letter or this container is straight, we'll move it out of the way and I'll attach it to the a wall. And I also made sure that I can retarget the letter before I continued. Okay, now there's a couple of ways that you can fix being too far away from the letter. One is you can just go ahead and grab your foundation, move it around till it turns green, and then lift it up closer to the letter. The other is just put your power armor out and just try to attach it closer to the ground. Either way works great. Now Choppy can bring the container over, place it on the letter, and have no problems with it setting on top of the letter. Also, if you can't target the letter after you've put something on it, then you may have to move your foundation out of the way. So make sure that you can target the letter before you get too wrapped up in what you're doing. And since I can, we'll bring it over to our build. We'll place it on there and make sure that it looks nice and straight. It looks good, so I think we'll go ahead and place it on there right now. Now what I'm going to do is put this on here, and I'm going to try to line it up by grabbing the letter if I need to and move it side to side. And yeah, it looks like it could be moved a little bit. But because of the way the walls are destroyed or broken here, I'm not actually able to target the letter again. So unfortunately, without storing the walls, we're just going to have to leave it right there. The only other way to do it would be to take the container down, put it on another letter, and put it back up there again. And hopefully this letter would be able to be targeted. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and put the disco ball on, and he'll place it on there where he would like it. While he's doing that, I'll grab the other container, because now it's going to go underneath of the crystal ball, or the disco ball, I should say. We'll take a second and line this up. I think this box could have been just a little bit straighter, but I think it'll be okay. Nice. Yeah, I think that looks good. Everything looks fairly straight. And now, let's get ready to put the gun on. Once again, I'll place a letter down with my power armor, and we're going to go ahead and put the heavy weapons rack or display rack on the letter. Now, once again, you may think that this isn't going to set up there. One of a couple of reasons. Either we're too far away from the ground or the foundation, or we need to lift the item up. So keep that in mind. Also, some objects only have certain spots that register as the bottom of the object. For example, if you've got one of your vending stations out, there's only a certain part that you can place on a rug to move it around. If you put the rug in another spot, then it doesn't actually set on that. And some of these objects are prone to that using these letters. So keep that in mind. You may have to work around a little bit and find the sweet spot to get the object to sit on the letter. But I promise you, if you have a little patience, it will. Okay, now Choppy will place the weapon in the rack to make sure we're on the right side of the rack, and the way that we're going to put it up is all correct. Since it is, now I'll grab the letter, we'll bring it over, and I'm going to place the letter on the end of the bottom container. By doing that, it kind of just moves around in a way that nothing is colliding with each other. And as you can see, it does collide here and there a little bit, but overall I can go ahead and put it exactly where we want it. And then as soon as I do, he can come over, place the weapon into it that he would like, and we now have a fully functional weapon as soon as he hooks some power up to it. And right now he's got the broadsider in it, and that really looks good. Oh, and there goes the power. Nice. Now we got a little fusion ball look thing. We didn't have no way to really make electricity right here. We played around with the idea of using the Tesla trap, but it would have to be repaired on every use. This way here, you just hook it up, it runs, it looks cool, and you don't have to really repair anything. Well, my Wasteland bros and broettes, that concludes today's video. I hope these tips and tricks inspired you or gave you some ideas on something that you could build in your next settlement build in 76. Hell, even in Fallout 4, a lot of these things work there too. Alright everybody, thank you all once again, and just like always, until next time, please stay safe and peace.